Welcome to CIT218 Web Applications. I'm your instructor, Lisa Ballback, and at the top of the course, upper left side, you should see my office phone number, email, and office number, in addition to my on-campus hours plus my online hours. Online hours are Sunday evening, 8 to 9 p.m. What I typically do is send out an invite to those hours a couple minutes before they start. And attendance is optional, but the invite will give you information about how to join me if you have any questions or if you've run into problems. You'll notice at the top of the course, we have quite a few buttons. These will take you to different sites that provide additional information. This course does bring in a lot of technology that you have used in various courses while you've been attending NMC. So we do use C# in this class. We also use HTML. We use Bootstrap. We use JavaScript. We use jQuery. So you will be reviewing skills that you've learned in a lot of different classes. So these buttons take you to different tutorial sites that you can use as a refresher. Then, if you scroll down, I will be opening up additional blocks as the semester progresses. At this point, I've got the professional development block open and I've got lesson 1. So we do have 50 points in this course that are for professional development and social networking. So if I open this up, there is a link to a page that describes what activities you can do to acquire those points. And I know a lot of you are already familiar with this because you've had to do this in other CIT classes. So basically, this is your choice as far as what you want to learn about for professional development or what you want to attend for social networking. And you can do either one. In the past, we had 100 points or 10% of the grade. We've kind of pared that down to 50 points, and you can do everything in professional development or everything in social networking. It's totally up to you. And in this class, because we're using so much technology that you may have had last year or the year before, any time you are kind of updating your skills or you're reviewing information, that is professional development. And if you write up a little summary about what you did, you can throw it into these drop boxes and you can acquire points. And for these points, you just have to get them done by the end of the semester. In our first lesson block, this is where the orientation is for our course. And you're definitely going to want to read through the course syllabus because that basically indicates what the grading scale is and how you're going to get points in this course. Then for the book, I do have a PDF version, so you do not need to buy it. Just download the PDF version. The book is for an older version of Visual Studio, but the information on MVC is still good. So I've provided this free, and we'll be looking at very specific chapters in here. So make sure you download this and save it to your system. The college syllabus has college policies. I'll let you all look at that. The course assignment schedule is something that you are going to want to print off because it goes week by week what we're going to be covering in our class. And a lot of students do find it helpful to print this off. And then as we complete things, you can cross them off. And that way you can make sure that you've completed all of the tasks for the week. The very first assignment in here is going to be to post a student profile. And where that is going to display is up here in our student spotlight. So every time you come in to Moodle, you should see a different student listing, and it'll basically show the picture. If there's some hashtags that describe you, you can enter those. And I'd like, a sentence or two telling people about yourself. And I'll go ahead and enter my information, because I typically don't make you guys do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to add a new entry. So the concept is going to be your name. And then you're going to want to add a picture. And I'm not even sure how many pictures I have on this system. I'm going to pause a minute so I can download a picture. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add this picture. I'm going to have to hit browse, and I want to upload. So I'm going to choose a file. And I just threw one in the download folder. And this is a picture of me and my little granddaughter. So I'm going to save it as Lisa and Layton. And typically these do come in quite large. So this happens to be a thumbnail that I downloaded. But what you're going to want to do, because I'm sure your pictures are going to be way bigger than that, is you're going to want to change the width to either 125 or 150. So I'm going to go ahead and change mine to 150. And you only have to change the width. And then if you press tab, it does keep it in proportion. Okay, and then you're going to want to choose the location and add a little description for people who are visually impaired. So I'm going to say Lisa and her granddaughter, Layton. And then I'm going to save it. Now below my picture, I'm going to go ahead and enter my hashtags. So for those of you that know me, you know I'm not a morning person. And another one would be failure is not an option, which means I will work as hard as I can, as long as I can, to accomplish something. Then the sentence that describes me. So probably the best one would be, I have a lot of interests and hobbies, but not enough time to do everything. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then where you will see your postings is right here. And as I mentioned, you are going to see a different one, hopefully, every time you come in. If you want to look at everybody's, you can just hit view all entries. So that's your first assignment. And your second assignment for this week is to post to the discussion. And in this class, we have on-campus students and we have online. And we have the two groups are cross-referenced. You guys are in the same class. And so this is kind of a nice way, the profile and the discussion are nice ways for you guys to get a feel for who all is in the class. So for the discussion, you'll notice that I went ahead and posted something. Basically, you just need to introduce yourself, let me know what your name or your nickname is, what your interests and hobbies are, what your program of study is, and any additional information that you would like to share with everyone. So only post what you're comfortable posting. Here I gave you some background and basically kind of how I found myself interested in teaching and different courses I've taught. I talk about different hobbies and that kind of thing. And again, only share what you are comfortable sharing. So that is assignment number 2. Once you finish that, If you do not have Visual Studio installed, you are going to want to install it. And Visual Studio 2019 is out. One place you can go is myvisualstudio.com. That actually gives you access to multiple versions. And you do have to sign in with a Microsoft account. This would be your college email that you want to use here. And then if you go into downloads, you can see you can get Visual Studio. And this is the one I like because there's multiple versions of Visual Studio that you can download. I mean, besides being, 2019, 2017, all of that, you can actually download the enterprise version here. Or if you prefer professional, you can download that. They also have community. So you have a choice regarding which Visual Studio you download. And any of them are okay for this class. Then if you also want to download, SQL Server or VS Code, you can access them all from this one place. We will be syncing our projects to GitHub. And so hopefully, because you've taken programming, you all have a GitHub account. And hopefully you've got your Visual Studio set up so that you can connect it to GitHub. If you do not, you are going to need to download and install a Visual Studio extension for GitHub. And so I do have a link to that as well. This first week, you don't really have to worry about putting anything on GitHub because the projects that we're creating, there's just not a whole lot to them. For week 1, you are going to go through the lecture demo. And it kind of gives you an overview of MVC. And you're actually going to be going in and creating some very simple projects. And the screenshots in here are for 2019. And I actually am using Enterprise. So that's what these screenshots are for. And I will have videos in here so that if you want to see a video of Hands-On 1, you can watch that and then kind of follow along on your system. But this will walk you through creating a brand new MVC application. And then we talk about some additional information. You'll have a Hands-On 2 where you're going to create another project and so on. So typically in the lecture demo, there are hands-on exercises that you do need to complete because you will be turning them in. Once you are done with the lecture demo, what I want you to do is go into the Dropbox and enter done. For the MVC applications, it does not work well to try to upload them to a Dropbox. What you're going to have to do is just demo the application to me, and I will check it off. And once I've checked everything off, I will give you the points for the assignment. So for online students, what that means is that you are going to have to meet with me in Zoom. Another option would be for you to come in during my office hours, and you can demo at that time, or meeting in Zoom. So I'm pretty flexible. The only time I really can't meet with you is while I'm teaching. I'm also not a big morning person, so later in the day is better for me. And weekends work, whatever works in your schedule is fine. Okay, so this is pretty much what we're doing week 1. And it is going to take you several weeks to get comfortable with MVC. In week 1, it's just trying to give you a feel for the big picture. What are the different moving parts? How do they kind of fit together? That's kind of what we're looking for in week 1. Under the review section, none of this is required, but I did include links to the other courses that I teach, which many of you have already taken, because if you are trying to remember how to do something that you learned back in CIT 180, It is helpful if you actually can just go out to the website and you can find it here. So there are links to previous courses and also various tutorials. If you run into problems or if you have questions, please ask. You will notice at the top that I do have a Dropbox for any kind of technical issues that you're having. Typically, if you run into technical issues, other people will have the same problems. So it is helpful if you post those so that we can share the problems that you encounter and also the solutions. Because if you've problem solved something and you've figured out how to fix it, you will save someone else a great deal of time by posting it here. Okay, so I think you're going to learn a ton in this course. It's a great course, and I look forward to working with all of you.